In March 2024, the deep sea research vessel Hadal Explorer captured something that shouldn't exist. 4,000 meters below the surface of the Pacific, their cameras recorded a creature moving through the darkness. It was the size of a blue whale. But it wasn't a whale, it was walking. Dr. Marina Santos had spent 15 years studying the deep ocean. She thought she understood the abyss cold. Dark, lifeless except for scattered bacteria and the occasional jellyfish drifting through the void. But what she saw on that grainy footage changed everything she believed about life on Earth. The creature moved on dozens of legs, each one longer than a school bus. Its body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that seemed almost intelligent. Organized, like a language written in light across its translucent flesh. When it disappeared into a canyon wall, the researchers assumed they'd lost it. They were wrong. It hadn't vanished. It had gone home. Scientists gave it a name, Abyssal Walker. But names couldn't explain what they were seeing. This thing challenged every law of biology they understood. Marine life this deep should be small, adapted to crushing pressure and eternal darkness. Not building-sized predators that moved with obvious intelligence through underwater canyons like they owned them. The ocean covers 71% of our planet's surface. We've explored less than 5% of it. We know more about the surface of Mars than about our own seafloor. But what we're discovering down there suggests we've been sharing this planet with something else all along. Something vast. Something ancient. Something that's been watching us from the depths. Dr. Santos wasn't the first to encounter these creatures. For decades, deep sea explorers have reported anomalies. Sonar readings that defied explanation. Shadows moving beneath their submersibles. Equipment that malfunctioned when approaching certain areas of the ocean floor. The scientific community dismissed these reports as sensor errors, equipment failures, hallucinations brought on by nitrogen narcosis. The creatures were hiding in plain sight. In 2019, marine biologist Dr. James Chen discovered something extraordinary. While studying what scientists call deep sea gigantism, the phenomenon where creatures in the abyss grow to impossible sizes. Giant tube worms stretching 40 feet long. Spider crabs with leg spans wider than cars. Squid the size of city buses lurking in the darkness. Chen found something bigger. His deep sea cameras captured glimpses of structures on the ocean floor, not natural formations. Artificial constructions. Geometric patterns carved into the seafloor stretching for kilometers. Perfectly symmetrical arrangements of what looked like stone blocks, each one the size of a building. The structures were ancient, pre-historical, and they were inhabited. The creatures living around these ruins weren't like anything in our textbooks. They moved with purpose. Intelligence. They seemed to understand their environment in ways that suggested consciousness. Planning. Culture. Chen realized he wasn't looking at random deep sea life. He was looking at a civilization. The Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Japan had been discovered decades earlier. Massive stone structures beneath the waves, carved with impossible precision. Rectangular platforms, step terraces, geometric shapes that suggested advanced engineering. Scientists debated whether they were natural rock formations or the remains of an ancient city. But they never considered a third possibility. They were still occupied. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the marine archaeologist who first mapped the Yonaguni site, noticed something disturbing in her latest surveys. The structures were changing, not eroding. Growing. New sections appeared where none had existed before. Fresh carvings emerged overnight, as if something was still building down there. Her underwater cameras captured movement around the monument. Shadows that seemed too large, too organized to be fish. When she enhanced the footage, she saw them clearly for the first time. Creatures the size of aircraft carriers, moving between the stone platforms with obvious familiarity. They weren't visitors to these ruins. They were the architects. The monument wasn't abandoned. It was thriving. Similar structures began appearing in underwater surveys around the world. Off the coast of Cuba, sonar detected what looked like pyramids buried beneath centuries of sediment. Near the Bahamas, perfectly circular formations stretched across the seafloor in mathematical precision. In the Mediterranean, researchers found carved tunnels that descended far deeper than any natural cave system. Each site showed signs of recent activity, fresh excavation, new construction, and always, the massive creatures moving through the darkness around them. Dr. Robert Hayes, a deep sea biologist studying bioluminescence, made a connection that terrified him. The light patterns displayed by these creatures weren't random. They followed the same geometric principles found in the underwater structures. The creatures weren't just living near these ruins, they were communicating about them. The bioluminescent displays were blueprints, construction plans, shared knowledge passed between creatures across ocean, basins, through languages of light that had existed for millennia. The ocean floor had become a planetary nervous system. But what was it thinking? The question haunted researchers as they uncovered more evidence. The creatures showed signs of intelligence that dwarfed our own. They had built cities when our ancestors were still learning to use tools. They had developed technology that could carve stone underwater with precision we still couldn't match. They had created a global communication network using bioluminescence and bioelectricity that spanned all the world's oceans. And they had been watching us. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, analyzing sonar data from deep ocean surveys, found patterns that suggested the creatures had been tracking human activity. Concentrations of large life forms appeared near shipping lanes. Migration patterns that followed submarine cables. Gathering points that coincided with military sonar exercises. The creatures weren't just aware of humanity. They were studying us. But the most disturbing discovery came from Dr. Lucas Freeman, a geologist studying underwater volcanic activity. His seismic sensors detected something impossible. The creatures weren't just living in the deep ocean. They were modifying it, creating new trenches, redirecting underwater currents, changing the very geology of the seafloor. The evidence suggested they were preparing for something. Deep sea mining operations began reporting equipment failures in areas where these creatures congregated. Robotic miners, sent to collect rare earth minerals from the seafloor, would malfunction mysteriously. Their cameras would capture glimpses of massive forms moving in the darkness before the machines went silent. Recovery attempts found the equipment not just damaged, but deliberately dismantled. The creatures were protecting their territory. Dr. Angela Torres, studying the biochemistry of deep sea organisms, made a discovery that changed our understanding of life itself. The creatures weren't just large, they were ancient. Carbon dating of tissue samples suggested lifespans measured in millennia. Some individuals could be thousands of years old. They remembered history we had forgotten. The creatures had witnessed the rise and fall of human civilizations. They had seen the ice ages come and go. They had watched as sea levels rose and fell, swallowing coastal cities and revealing new continents. To them, human civilization was just the latest in a series of surface experiments that would eventually return to the sea. As they all did. Dr. Mitchell's team discovered that the creatures' construction projects weren't random. They were building infrastructure, vast networks of tunnels and chambers designed to house something much larger than their current population. The construction followed patterns that suggested preparation for a massive influx of inhabitants. They were building for refugees. Climate change was accelerating, sea levels were rising, coastal cities faced unprecedented flooding, and deep beneath the waves, something ancient was preparing to welcome the next wave of surface dwellers to join them in the depths. But the creatures' intentions weren't charitable. Dr. Freeman's seismic data revealed that their construction projects were destabilizing underwater fault lines, creating artificial tsunami risks, accelerating the very coastal flooding that would drive humanity toward the sea. They weren't preparing to help us adapt to rising oceans. They were causing the rise. The creatures understood that land-based life was temporary. They had seen it happen before. Civilizations that grew too large, consumed too much, changed their environment beyond sustainability. The ocean always reclaimed what belonged to it. The creatures were simply ensuring the process happened on their timeline. Dr. Santos returned to the site where she first encountered the walking giant. Her cameras revealed that the canyon where it had disappeared led to something extraordinary. A vast underwater cavern system, its walls carved with the same geometric patterns found at archaeological sites around the world. But these weren't ruins. They were blueprints. The cavern walls showed detailed plans for structures that hadn't been built yet. Engineering diagrams for constructions that would rise from the seafloor as oceans claimed the land. The creatures weren't just living in the deep, they were planning to expand. The walking giant wasn't alone. Santos's cameras captured dozens of similar creatures moving through the cavern system, each one the size of a building, each one carrying what looked like construction materials toward sites. Marked on the cavern walls, they were preparing for the next phase of their expansion, the phase that would begin when the surface world finally acknowledged what the deep ocean had always known. Land was temporary. The abyss was eternal. And the creatures that lived there had been patient enough to wait for the surface world to join them. But they were done waiting. Recent satellite data showed unusual activity in deep ocean areas around the world. Underwater volcanic eruptions in regions that had been dormant for millennia. Massive changes in ocean current patterns. Accelerated melting of polar ice caps due to previously unknown heat sources from the deep sea. The creatures were actively changing our planet's climate, forcing the conditions that would drive humanity toward the oceans they controlled. Dr. Hayes made one final discovery that revealed the true scope of what humanity faced. The bioluminescent communication network used by the creatures wasn't limited to the deep ocean. His sensors detected similar light patterns in coastal waters, in estuaries, in deep lakes that connected to underground aquifer systems. The network reached inland. The creatures weren't confined to the deep ocean. They had access to freshwater systems, underground rivers. They could reach anywhere water flowed, and they were already there, waiting in the darkness beneath every major city built near water. When the time came, they wouldn't need to wait for rising seas to claim the land. They could emerge from beneath it. Dr. Santos's final report, classified by every government that received it, contained a recommendation that terrified world leaders. The creatures possessed technology and intelligence that made them the dominant species on Earth. They controlled the oceans that covered most of the planet. They had infrastructure in place to survive any climate disaster. And they had been planning humanity's transition to their domain for thousands of years. The evidence suggested that what we called climate change was actually terraforming. The creatures were preparing Earth's surface for a new phase of habitation, one where the boundaries between land and sea would dissolve, and everything would exist in the perpetual twilight of their aquatic realm. The first contact protocols developed by world governments assumed we would meet alien intelligence in space. Radio signals from distant stars, visitors arriving in spacecraft. No one prepared for the possibility that we had been sharing our planet with another intelligence all along, an intelligence that had been studying us from the depths while we gazed at the stars. Dr. Patricia Morse, a xenobiologist brought in to study the creature's behavior patterns, made a discovery that shattered our understanding of evolution itself. The creatures weren't native to Earth. Their biochemistry contained elements that shouldn't exist in our biosphere, isotopic signatures that suggested an origin beyond our solar system. They were refugees. ancient survivors of a dying world who had made Earth's oceans their sanctuary millions of years ago. The implications were staggering. If these creatures had arrived from elsewhere, then their technology, their intelligence, their understanding of planetary systems far exceeded our own. They had been managing Earth's oceans as a terraform project, slowly adapting our world to better suit their needs. Humanity wasn't the dominant species on Earth. We never had been. Dr. Morse's tissue analysis revealed something even more disturbing. The creatures possessed genetic material that incorporated elements from every major life form on Earth. They hadn't just been observing evolution, they had been guiding it, influencing the development of life in our oceans to create the ecosystem they needed to survive. Every marine species we thought was natural had been modified, enhanced, designed to serve the creature's greater purpose. The revelation explained anomalies that marine biologists had been documenting for decades. The sudden appearance of new species in deep ocean environments. Rapid evolutionary changes that should have taken millions of years. Behavioral patterns in marine life that suggested coordination across species barriers. The creatures had been cultivating Earth's oceans like a vast garden, nurturing the development of life forms that would support their expanding civilization. We weren't sharing the planet with another species. We were living in their laboratory. Dr. Freeman's geological surveys revealed the true extent of the creatures' influence on our world. The underwater structures weren't limited to a few archaeological sites. They formed a global network spanning every ocean basin. Massive construction projects that had been ongoing for millions of years, slowly reshaping the seafloor according to some vast design. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the longest mountain range on Earth, showed signs of artificial modification. Someone had been directing tectonic activity, using volcanic forces to build underwater mountains in specific patterns. The Ring of Fire in the Pacific Ocean wasn't a natural formation. It was architecture. The creatures had been engineering our planet's geology for millions of years, creating the oceanic infrastructure they needed to support a civilization larger than anything humanity had ever imagined. Dr. Chen's team made another disturbing discovery while studying the creature's technology. The bioluminescent communication systems weren't just for sending messages. They were harvesting energy. The light patterns generated by billions of deep sea organisms were being collected and concentrated by the creatures' technology, creating power sources that dwarfed our most advanced nuclear reactors. The entire marine ecosystem had been converted into a planetary power grid. Every glowing jellyfish, every bioluminescent bacteria, every deep sea anglerfish was a component in a vast energy collection system that had been powering the creature's civilization for millennia. Humanity's impact on the oceans through pollution, overfishing, and climate change wasn't just environmental damage. We were disrupting a technological system that had been operating since before complex life existed on land. The creature's response to this disruption was becoming increasingly aggressive. Shipping companies began reporting incidents that couldn't be explained by conventional marine hazards. Cargo vessels disappearing in deep ocean areas with no distress signals, no wreckage, no survivors. When recovery teams investigated, they found the ships had been carefully dismantled, their metal hulls harvested with precision that suggested advanced technology. The creatures were collecting our materials, building something with the components of our civilization. Submarine crews reported encounters that challenged their understanding of physics. Massive forms, moving through the water at impossible speeds, generating no sonar signature, leaving no wake. Objects that appeared to be technological, but operated according to principles that made no sense to human engineering. The creatures weren't just intelligent, they had access to science that we couldn't comprehend. Dr. Hayes discovered that the creature's bioluminescent communication network extended beyond simple light patterns. They were generating electromagnetic fields that interfered with human technology. Satellite communications went dead over certain ocean areas. GPS systems malfunctioned near deep ocean trenches. Military sonar arrays detected phantom signals that seemed to be jamming their own transmissions. The creatures were actively interfering with human attempts to monitor the oceans. They were hiding something big enough to require blocking our surveillance of vast areas of the deep sea. Atmospheric scientists detected anomalies in weather patterns that coincided with unusual deep ocean activity. Hurricanes forming in areas where the ocean temperature couldn't support them. Storms that moved in directions that defied meteorological predictions. Rain patterns that seemed to follow the locations of underwater structures rather than atmospheric conditions. The creatures weren't just influencing ocean currents. They were controlling our weather. Dr. Torres made a breakthrough understanding the creatures' biology that explained their seemingly impossible abilities. Their cellular structure incorporated quantum mechanical properties that allowed them to manipulate matter at the molecular level. They could alter the density of water around them, create localized gravitational fields, generate electromagnetic radiation at will. They weren't just large sea creatures. They were living technologies that operated according to physical principles. We were only beginning to discover. The implications terrified the scientific community. If the creatures could manipulate matter at the quantum level, then they could reshape reality according to their needs. They could make water behave like solid ground, allowing them to walk on the seafloor as easily as we walked on land. They could create pockets of breathable atmosphere in the deepest trenches. They could generate heat, light, and energy from the basic quantum properties of matter itself. They had transcended the limitations of biology. They had become something between life and technology, evolution and engineering. Dr. Santos made one final descent to the underwater cavern system, where she had first encountered evidence of the creatures' civilization. What she found there changed everything we thought we knew about the scope of their operations. The caverns weren't natural formations. They were manufactured spaces carved from solid rock with impossible precision. The walls showed no tool marks, no signs of conventional excavation. They had been shaped by technology that could manipulate matter at the atomic level. But the caverns weren't empty. They were cities. Massive urban complexes stretched through underwater mountain ranges, connected by transportation systems that moved through solid rock as easily as water. The creatures had built a civilization that existed in 3 dimensions, utilizing not just the ocean floor, but the entire volume of the deep sea. Santos's cameras captured glimpses of creatures moving through these cities in organized patterns that suggested complex social structures. They weren't primitive sea monsters. They were the citizens of an advanced civilization that had been thriving in Earth's oceans, while humanity struggled to master fire. The cities showed signs of recent expansion. New construction projects that suggested the creatures were preparing for a massive increase in population. They weren't just building infrastructure for themselves. They were creating space for refugees from the surface world. But the refugees wouldn't be arriving voluntarily. Dr. Freeman's seismic monitoring revealed the creatures' final plan. The tectonic modifications they had been making for millions of years weren't random geological engineering. They were creating a controlled collapse system, a way to trigger massive earthquakes and tsunamis that would devastate coastal civilizations while leaving the deep ocean infrastructure intact. The creatures had built a planetary reset button, and they were preparing to use it. The evidence suggested that previous mass extinction events hadn't been natural disasters. They had been controlled culling operations conducted by the creatures to maintain the balance of life on Earth, according to their needs. The extinction of the dinosaurs, the ice ages, the great floods recorded in human mythology. All of them had been engineered by intelligence that existed in the deep ocean. Humanity was about to experience the next scheduled reset. Military satellites detected massive movements in deep ocean areas that corresponded to the creatures' cities. Millions of large life forms migrating toward strategic positions near major population centers. They weren't hiding anymore. They were deploying. The creatures that had been content to remain in the depths for millions of years were finally ready to reclaim the surface world they had always considered their domain. Dr. Mitchell's final transmission came from a research station positioned above one of the creatures' major cities. Her sensors detected something that confirmed humanity's worst fears about what was rising from the depths. The creatures weren't just preparing to emerge from the oceans. They were bringing their cities with them. The underwater structures were designed to surface, to rise from the deep, and establish new coastal territories as sea levels rose and land masses were reclaimed by the expanding oceans. Humanity wouldn't just be facing invasion from the sea. We would be witnessing the emergence of an entire civilization that had been waiting beneath the waves for the right moment to reclaim their planet. The creatures had been patient. They had watched human civilization develop with the same detached interest that we might observe bacteria growing in a petri dish. Interesting, but ultimately temporary. A brief experiment in surface life that would eventually return to its proper place in the oceanic order. But their patience was ending. The deep ocean had been hiding more than monsters and lost civilizations. It had been incubating the true rulers of Earth. Ancient intelligence that had shaped our planet's development for millions of years from the shadows of the abyss. And they were ready to step into the light. The walking giant that Dr. Santos first encountered was never seen again. But her final transmission, recorded as her submersible descended toward the creature's domain, contained a message that changed everything. She wasn't alone down there. They were waiting for her. And they were waiting for all of us. The abyss had been patient, but the deep was rising. Something is waiting in the darkness below. Something vast. Something ancient. Something that has been planning our future from the depths of the ocean while we built our civilizations on borrowed land. The water is rising. The creatures are ascending, and the surface world is about to discover what has been lurking beneath the waves all along. This is not science fiction. This is not fantasy. This is the reality that has been hidden 4,000 meters below the surface of our world, waiting for the right moment to emerge from the crushing darkness of the deep. The abyss is awakening, and it remembers everything we have forgotten about who really owns this planet. The ocean is coming home. Our planet is covered mostly by water. Roughly 70% of Earth's surface lies concealed under the immense oceans. While humanity has mapped and traversed vast continents, the underwater world still holds countless secrets, and most of its depths remain beyond our reach. The sea floor is a realm of darkness and cold, shaped by unimaginable geological forces over millions of years. Down in these depths, towering ridges and submarine mountains stretch toward the surface, sculpted by ancient volcanoes, shifting tectonic plates, and nature's unstoppable power. These underwater formations stand as silent sentinels, their creation stories still shrouded in mystery. Their origins and what they might hide are questions scientists continue to debate. Picture yourself standing at the brink of one of these deep sea precipices, staring into a lightless chasm where sunlight has never touched. Somewhere far below, history lies, hidden, perhaps centuries, old shipwrecks, lost civilizations, or treasures swallowed by time, all buried in silence and darkness. Despite our technological progress, much of the ocean bed is still unmapped and poorly understood. Bizarre. Luminous creatures inhabit the pitch black waters, perfectly evolved to endure pressure and darkness. Oceanographers have recorded inexplicable sounds echoing through the deep, hinting at unknown forces or life forms at play. These discoveries ignite the imagination. Some speculate these cliffs could conceal relics of lost continents or advanced ancient societies, now submerged forever. Each scientific expedition brings new insights. But the ocean's greatest enigmas persist. One of the planet's most extraordinary underwater features lies in the South Pacific. The cliff walls of the Tonga Trench. This vast abyss plunges over 10,000 meters below the surface, formed where immense tectonic plates meet. Its steep, jagged cliffs are a realm of extremes, unimaginable depth, crushing pressure, and almost complete isolation from the surface world. Little scientific data exists for this region. Its remoteness makes study difficult and dangerous. Yet even in such an unforgiving place, life thrives in unexpected forms. Creatures that seem almost alien, glowing, enormous, or bizarrely shaped, survive amid these cliffs. Some researchers believe the trench may hide the remains of prehistoric wrecks, lost cities, or unknown species. Frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions continue to reshape the landscape, making every visit an encounter with something new and unpredictable. For centuries, the Tonga Trench has fascinated those who seek to uncover the planet's deepest secrets. As technology improves, we may finally start to unravel what lies within. But for now, its mysteries remain intact, challenging and inspiring the explorers of tomorrow. Hidden beneath the rolling waves, the Earth's greatest unknowns await discovery. The ocean's bottom is a landscape more alien than the surface of the moon. Its terrain a series of dramatic peaks, sprawling valleys, and shadowy canyons that stretch for thousands of kilometers. Here, titanic forces of geology sculpted immense formations, deep trenches, mountainous ridges, and yawning abysses, all bathed in total darkness. Despite being closer to us than the far reaches of space, these depths remain largely untouched, mysterious realms that have only just begun to reveal their wonders to humankind. Among the most fascinating of these underwater features is the monumental cliff face of the Tonga Trench in the Pacific. Second only to the Mariana Trench in depth, the Tonga Trench drops precipitously, over 800 meters, into the black. Its steep walls, cut by the relentless grinding of tectonic plates, rise in jagged ridges from the ocean bed, forming one of nature's most dramatic boundaries. The trench is an environment of superlatives. Pressure here is more than 1,000 times that at sea level. Temperatures plummet, and total darkness reigns. Only a handful of scientific missions have managed to send equipment into its depths, leaving the majority of the trench uncharted, and its mysteries unsolved. Despite the hostile conditions, the Tonga Trench is alive. Bioluminescent animals, creatures that create their own light, drift through the black water, along with massive deep sea fish and legendary giant squids. These species possess bizarre adaptations, allowing them to withstand pressures that would crush a human-made submarine. The cliffs themselves may conceal the wrecks of vessels lost to history, or even the remnants of civilizations submerged by time and disaster. Every earthquake and volcanic eruption on the trench's floor changes the landscape further, reshaping the region in ways both spectacular and deadly. Scientists believe the Tonga Trench could contain minerals yet unseen, as well as clues to life's evolution on Earth. The allure of what might be found there continues to inspire new generations of ocean explorers. Far from the South Pacific, another enigmatic abyss lies beneath the Caribbean, the Puerto Rico Trench. This geological wonder marks the deepest point in the Atlantic Ocean, where the North American tectonic plate plunges under the Caribbean plate. Its vertical cliffs are both majestic and forbidding, shaped by millions of years of tectonic struggle. The trench's extreme depths are home to unique and often bizarre ecosystems. Giant squids, otherworldly fish, and luminous invertebrates thrive in conditions of utter blackness, their bodies adapted to freezing temperatures and crushing water pressure. These animals remain almost entirely unknown, studied only by remote cameras and submersibles sent into the abyss. The Puerto Rico Trench is a living, shifting environment. Underwater earthquakes and volcanic eruptions frequently shake the region, constantly remaking the seabed and its features. Scientists are fascinated by the clues to Earth's geological past hidden here, each mission uncovering new species, minerals, or clues to continental drift. There is speculation among some researchers that, beneath the trench's cliffs, there may be traces of long-vanished cities or lost ships, preserved for centuries in darkness. As technology evolves, so too does our ability to uncover the trench's secrets, but vast portions remain unexplored. The Puerto Rico Trench stands as one of our planet's final frontiers, a dramatic testament to the raw, untamable power of the oceans. Venture to the far edge of the world and you'll find the Solomon Ocean, a wild stretch of the Pacific that surrounds the Solomon Islands. This area is a mosaic of vibrant life and dramatic history. The islands themselves rise like emerald crowns from the water, encircled by turquoise seas that dazzle in the sunlight. Coral reefs sprawl just below the surface, supporting entire worlds of marine creatures. Swarms of colorful fish, graceful rays, and ancient sea turtles. The natural beauty is matched only by the region's sense of mystery. But the story of the Solomon Ocean is not only one of tranquility. These waters were the stage for fierce battles during World War II. The seafloor is scattered with relics of war, sunken ships, lost planes, and remnants of fierce naval clashes. Divers exploring the depths may swim through the shattered hulls of warships, now transformed into living reefs where nature has reclaimed the ruins. Schools of fish dart between rusted artillery and forgotten machinery, blending the past and present into a single, vibrant tableau. Above the surface, the Solomon Islands themselves remain a testament to survival and adaptation. Remote villages, largely unchanged for centuries, preserve ancient customs and ways of life. Towering volcanoes and thick jungles form dramatic backdrops, while pristine beaches stretch for miles along the coast. For travelers and explorers, the Solomon Ocean is not just a destination, but a journey into a living tapestry where nature, legend, and history are woven together. Shift now to the legendary Red Sea, which lies between Northeast Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. This body of water is a marvel of both biology and geography. Spanning more than 2,000 kilometers, the Red Sea is famous for its crystal clear, turquoise waters and its extraordinary marine biodiversity. Its name is believed to come from microscopic algae that sometimes tint the water a reddish hue, but its real beauty lies below the surface. Coral reefs teem with life, and an explosion of colors greets divers who explore its depths. Throughout the year, the Red Sea's waters remain warm and inviting. Along its shores, luxurious resorts and ancient cities line the coast. It's a crossroads for cultures and commerce, connecting the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean through the vital Suez Canal. For millennia, traders, explorers, and armies have sailed these waters, making the Red Sea one of history's most significant maritime routes. Among its treasures, the Red Sea is renowned as one of the world's premier destinations for scuba diving. Here, you can swim alongside manta rays, sea turtles, whale sharks, and countless species of reef fish. Beneath the waves lie not only vibrant coral gardens, but also dramatic shipwrecks. These underwater ruins tell stories of conflict, trade, and tragedy. History frozen beneath layers of coral and teeming with new life. Famous dive sites include places where the past comes alive, each shipwreck an invitation to explore both nature and memory. One of the most iconic shipwrecks in the Red Sea is the British vessel Thistlegorm. Sunk during World War II, while transporting military equipment, the ship now lies at a depth of about 30 meters. Today, divers find its decks transformed into living reefs, home to a kaleidoscope of marine creatures. Descending to the wreck is like traveling back through time. Trucks, motorcycles, and crates of wartime supplies are still visible, preserved in silence under the sea. Fish dart among the shadows, weaving through windows and around tanks frozen in history. The contrast between the violence of the ship's destruction and the serenity of its underwater afterlife is striking, a powerful reminder of nature's ability to reclaim and transform even the scars of war. The sense of awe deepens as you swim through the ship's remains. Each corridor and cargo hold tells a story. Every artifact hints at a moment lost to time. Yet there is a tranquility here too, as if the ocean itself has offered a final peace to the chaos above. For many, visiting the wreck is not just a dive, but a journey of reflection and discovery. A place where the past and present merge in silence and light. And so, from the remote cliffs of the Tonga Trench to the battle-scarred waters of the Solomon Ocean and the storied depths of the Red Sea, Earth's oceans are a tapestry of wonders both ancient and new. Despite all we have learned, their greatest secrets still lie beneath the waves, inviting, challenging, and inspiring us to explore further. The ocean has always been a place of both wonder and fear, a domain where beauty and danger are never far apart. As you drift deeper into these unexplored frontiers, the sense of scale becomes almost overwhelming. Towering underwater cliffs loom above the sea floor, their faces carved by millennia of tectonic upheaval. Even the bravest explorers admit to a feeling of insignificance when faced with such primordial forces. These landscapes, unseen by sunlight, stretch across the planet's most remote regions, shaping not only the sea but also the mysteries that fill our imaginations. In the Caribbean, the Puerto Rico Trench commands particular awe. Here, the Earth's crust bends and shifts, creating dramatic geological formations and driving the evolution of life in extraordinary directions. The sheer cliffs of the trench rise sharply from the ocean floor, their surfaces fractured and marked by the scars of countless earthquakes. Such environments are almost impossible to study firsthand. The immense pressure, freezing temperatures, and utter darkness deter even the most advanced machines. Yet scientists persist, sending down remotely operated vehicles and sophisticated sensors, hoping to catch glimpses of the secrets locked away in the abyss. The trench is not a static environment. Rather, it is a constantly shifting world, shaped by frequent seismic activity and volcanic eruptions. Each tremor sends shockwaves through the water, altering the seafloor and sometimes creating entirely new features. Within these deep, ever-changing landscapes, some researchers dream of discovering the traces of ancient shipwrecks or even lost cities, hidden for centuries beneath the sediment. The idea of forgotten civilizations resting at the bottom of the Atlantic is no longer dismissed as pure fantasy. Every new expedition has the potential to rewrite what we know about the planet's history. Life in the depths of the Puerto Rico Trench is no less remarkable. Even where sunlight never penetrates, ecosystems flourish. Inhabitants of these regions glow with internal lights, using bioluminescence to attract prey or communicate in the blackness. There are giant squids with tentacles as long as a school bus, deep sea fish with fanged jaws, and transparent bodies, and creatures so strange that they seem to belong to another world entirely. The ocean's depths are a laboratory for evolution, producing forms of life as spectacular as they are baffling. Far to the east, in the heart of the Red Sea, another kind of underwater spectacle awaits. Here, amid warm tropical waters, coral reefs bloom in vibrant color. The reefs are bustling cities in miniature, home to countless species that interact in a delicate balance. But this paradise is also the graveyard of history, holding some of the world's most famous shipwrecks. These wrecks serve as both monuments to past events and vital habitats for new generations of marine life. One of the Red Sea's most celebrated dive sites is the Thistlegorm, a British ship sunk during the height of World War II. Loaded with military cargo, tanks, motorcycles, trucks, and munitions. The vessel was destroyed in a single night by an enemy attack. Now, resting at the bottom of the sea, the ship's twisted remains have become an artificial reef, where sea life flourishes in and around the relics of war. As divers descend through the clear water, the outline of the ship emerges, covered in a tapestry of corals and swarming with fish. Exploring the Thistlegorm is like entering an underwater time capsule. The artifacts remain scattered where they fell, untouched for decades, while nature's slow but relentless process transforms the metal and rubber into a thriving ecosystem. There is a haunting quality to such sights. The ghosts of the past seem to linger in the silence, and every shadowed corridor holds stories waiting to be rediscovered. Yet these wrecks are not only windows into history, they are also a testament to nature's resilience. In the aftermath of destruction, life returns in unexpected ways, adapting and renewing itself year after year. Another remarkable underwater destination is the Great Blue Hole, off the coast of Belize. Seen from above, it is a perfect circle of deep blue, surrounded by lighter turquoise waters and coral reefs. Measuring more than 300 meters across and over 100 meters deep. The Blue Hole is a natural wonder formed during the last ice age, when sea levels were far lower than today. As glaciers melted and the oceans rose, the cavern flooded, creating the breathtaking phenomenon we see now. Diving into the Blue Hole is a journey into the Earth's ancient past. Stalactites hang from the cavern's roof, remnants of a time when this space was above water. Fish, sharks, and rays glide silently through the shadows, occasionally illuminated by shafts of sunlight penetrating the depths. The water is astonishingly clear, and the sense of descending into another world is almost overpowering. For many divers, reaching the Blue Hole is the ultimate adventure, a chance to explore one of the planet's most dramatic natural features. But not all wonders of the sea are grand in scale. Sometimes, the most magical places are the most ephemeral. Imagine a sandbar in the middle of the ocean, visible only when the tide is low. In places like Onuk Island near Balabac, such sandbars appear as fleeting strokes of white across the turquoise sea. With no buildings, no crowds, and no infrastructure, these sandbars offer a silence and purity that is almost impossible to find elsewhere. Stories abound of mysterious blue lights appearing on moonlit nights, and of ghostly singing carried by the wind. In such places, the boundary between reality and legend feels very thin. These tranquil environments remind us that the ocean is more than a collection of facts and statistics. It is a living presence, full of moods and mysteries, capable of evoking awe, peace, and even fear. People who visit these remote spots often describe a feeling of transformation, as if the world's noise and distractions are stripped away, leaving only the essential experience of nature's grandeur. Shipwrecks, both famous and forgotten, continue to shape our understanding of the oceans. Each has its own story. The SS Yongala, lost off Australia's Queensland coast in 1911, went down in a cyclone with more than 100 people aboard. For decades, its location remained unknown, a haunting mystery whispered about by sailors and coastal communities. When it was finally discovered, divers found the wreck largely intact, preserved by the ocean's embrace. Today, the Yongala is one of the world's great dive sites. The rusted hull is covered in coral and swarmed by fish, rays, and even sea turtles. Exploring the wreck is both a historical journey and a celebration of the ocean's ability to give new life to old ruins. Beneath the waves, ruins of ancient civilizations lie undisturbed. Some dreamers still search for the fabled Atlantis, lost temples, streets, and statues said to be hidden under the sea. While most scientists treat these legends with skepticism, archaeological discoveries of submerged cities and artifacts remind us that much of human history remains concealed by rising waters and shifting continents. The ocean, with its immense power to erase and preserve, holds the memory of our world's forgotten chapters. To dive among ancient ruins is to be transported across time. Sculpted stones, covered in coral, stand as silent witnesses to centuries gone by. Carvings can sometimes still be seen on their surfaces, hinting at cultures far older than our own. Swimming through these underwater streets, explorers often feel as if they are traveling not just through space, but through the very fabric of history. The past and present coexist, bound together by the unbroken tides. The Solomon Ocean, too, is rich with legends. The islands that dot its surface have their own myths and traditions, stories passed down through generations. Beneath the water, the remains of war, planes, ships, and weapons rest side by side with vibrant reefs and teeming schools of fish. For divers and historians alike, these waters offer a unique blend of beauty and drama, the evidence of conflict slowly becoming part of nature's eternal cycle. All across the globe, from the Pacific's hidden trenches to the Caribbean's shadowy canyons, the oceans challenge us to look deeper. Every cliff, every reef, and every shipwreck is a doorway to discovery. Modern technology, satellites, deep sea submersibles, sonar mapping, has begun to peel back the curtain, but the vast majority of the seafloor remains unexplored. For every answer we find, new questions arise. What species remain unseen? What stories do these ancient stones and sunken holes still have to tell? In the end, the ocean's greatest lesson may be humility. Its power is matched only by its ability to surprise. The sea is a frontier in the truest sense, a place where the limits of our knowledge and imagination are constantly tested. As explorers venture ever further into the blue unknown, they are not just seeking new landscapes, but also a deeper understanding of the planet and of ourselves. Standing at the edge of a remote sandbar, gazing into a bottomless trench, or descending into the rusting hulk of a ship lost to war, we are reminded the ocean is more than a setting for adventure. It is a vast, living archive, a keeper of stories, a crucible of life, and a mystery that will likely never be fully revealed. Exploring the world's oceans, one is struck not only by their scale, but by their remarkable variety. No two underwater regions are quite the same. Some areas are shaped by volcanic eruptions, others by the slow grinding of tectonic plates or the ceaseless work of ancient currents. Yet all are united by a sense of mystery, by the sense that, no matter how much we learn, far more remains hidden beneath the waves. Consider the Mediterranean Sea. To most, it conjures images of sunny beaches and ancient cities clinging to rocky shores. Yet beneath the gentle surface lies a dramatic and complex landscape, marked by steep drop-offs, deep basins, and the silent remnants of history. The sea here is a patchwork of natural wonders and archaeological treasures. Ancient shipwrecks, some thousands of years old, rest undisturbed beneath layers of sand and silt. Their cargoes, amphorae, statues, even tools, offer glimpses into vanished civilizations and the earliest days of seafaring. Divers descending into the Mediterranean's depths can discover entire worlds preserved by time. The remains of Phoenician and Greek vessels speak to the birth of trade and exploration, while sunken Roman cities and harbors reveal the relentless march of both nature and human ingenuity. In some places, entire streets and mosaics can still be seen, the outlines of houses and marketplaces gradually reclaimed by the sea. Each discovery is a reminder that the ocean is not simply a barrier, but a highway, a link between peoples, cultures, and eras. Further east, the Indian Ocean is another realm of contrasts and secrets. Its vast stretches encompass everything from stormy monsoon seas to serene lagoons dotted with coral atolls. Here, the seafloor is shaped by dramatic features, such as the Java Trench, an immense chasm created by the subduction of tectonic plates. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are common, sending shockwaves through the region, and sometimes causing tsunamis that reach distant shores. Despite these dangers, the Indian Ocean has served as a bridge between civilizations for thousands of years, connecting Africa, Asia, and the islands of the Pacific. The waters off the coast of India are especially rich in history. Sunken temples and submerged settlements dot the continental shelf, evidence of ancient cities lost to the sea through flood or disaster. One of the most famous legends is that of Dwarka, an ancient metropolis said to have been swallowed by the ocean thousands of years ago. While some dismiss such tales as myth, recent archaeological finds suggest that fragments of truth may lie behind the stories. Divers exploring these sites have uncovered sculpted pillars, pottery, and the remnants of walls, reminders that the boundaries between land and sea are always shifting. The Indian Ocean's reefs and islands are also home to a dazzling array of life. Coral gardens teem with color, sheltering countless fish, mollusks, and crustaceans. Sea turtles glide among the rocks, and whale sharks cruise slowly through the blue. At night, bioluminescent plankton light up the water with flashes of green and blue, turning the sea into a living galaxy. For many, to witness these sights is to be transported, reminded that the ocean is a world of its own, as rich in wonder as any on land. Traveling south, the cold waters surrounding Antarctica present a starkly different scene. Here, icebergs drift silently across the horizon, and the sea is often cloaked in fog or storm. The continental shelf plunges sharply, creating deep trenches and towering underwater mountains. These harsh environments are home to unique species adapted to life in near-freezing water. Giant jellyfish, schools of silver fish, and hardy seals and whales that feed on the ocean's abundant krill. The Antarctic seabed is also a storehouse of scientific clues. Sediments here preserve records of climate change, ancient ice ages, and shifts in the planet's atmosphere. Studying these layers, scientists can reconstruct stories millions of years old, gaining insights into how the Earth's systems have evolved and how they may change in the future. In this way, the ocean is both a time machine and a warning, a reminder of nature's power and our place within it. The Pacific Ocean, vastest of them all, is perhaps the greatest source of underwater marvels. Its Ring of Fire is a chain of volcanoes and trenches that circle the basin, creating an ever-shifting landscape of peaks and chasms. The Mariana Trench, deepest known point on Earth, has become a symbol of the unknown. Few human eyes have gazed into its depths, fewer still have touched its floor. Those who have described an alien world of crushing pressure and perpetual darkness, where strange life forms drift in slow motion, feeding off the chemical energy of underwater vents. Scattered across the Pacific are also remnants of more recent history. World War II left countless ships, planes, and submarines resting on the seafloor. In places like Truk Lagoon and Bikini Atoll, these wrecks have become artificial reefs, sanctuaries for marine life and haunting reminders of conflict. Divers glide past tanks, jeeps, and aircraft frozen in time, nature slowly reclaiming what humanity left behind. Yet the Pacific is not just a graveyard, but a place of renewal. Coral reefs and volcanic islands rise out of the blue, home to vibrant cultures and ancient traditions. Islanders speak of spirits and ancestors living in the ocean's depths, and every coastline has its own tales of heroes, monsters, and lost worlds. The sea here is woven into the fabric of daily life, provider, protector, and at times destroyer. In the Atlantic, the Sargasso Sea stands apart as a region defined not by land, but by its floating forests of seaweed. This unique habitat provides shelter for countless species, from tiny shrimp and juvenile turtles to vast schools of fish. It is a place of constant movement, as currents carry the mats of sargassum for thousands of kilometers. Sailors once feared these waters, believing them haunted or impassable, but modern science reveals them as one of the planet's great nurseries, a vital link in the ocean's cycle of life. Elsewhere in the Atlantic, Ancient legends come alive. Tales of sea monsters and ghost ships still echo among mariners, inspired by strange sightings and unexplained phenomena. The Bermuda Triangle, stretching from Florida to Bermuda and Puerto Rico, has become infamous for mysterious disappearances. While most such stories can be explained by storms, navigation errors, or natural hazards, the mystique of the unknown remains. Throughout history, the ocean has served as both barrier and invitation. It separated continents, but also brought explorers to new shores. Its dangers, storms, reefs, unpredictable currents, demanded courage and ingenuity, shaping the course of empires and the fate of countless ships. Even now, as satellites scan the planet and robots probe the seafloor, the ocean keeps its secrets well guarded. Most of its depths remain uncharted, and the promise of discovery draws adventurers ever onward. Today, the spirit of exploration is alive as never before. Scientific missions send submersibles to the ocean's most extreme environments. Robotic probes collect data on temperature, chemistry, and life. Deep sea cameras reveal creatures that glow in the dark, form colonies around hydrothermal vents, or survive without sunlight in eternal night. Each new expedition brings discoveries that rewrite our understanding of biology, geology, and history. Yet for all our technology, the sense of wonder endures. To stand on a quiet shore and gaze out at the horizon is to feel a connection with something greater. A world vast, ancient, and full of possibility. The ocean's tides are the planet's pulse. Its mysteries, our invitation to dream. So whether you descend into the blackness of a trench, wander coral gardens ablaze with color, or follow legends to the site of a sunken city, remember, the true adventure is not just in what we find, but in how it transforms us. The ocean is a frontier without end, a place where the past and future meet, and where every discovery is only the beginning of a greater story. The ocean, with its endless blue surface, hides a world more complex than any continent. For every well-known shipwreck or coral reef, there are 1,000 stories yet untold, of lost islands, vanished creatures, and civilizations that disappeared beneath the waves. Modern oceanography is a science born of curiosity and necessity. For the sea has always shaped our lives in ways both visible and hidden. One of the greatest challenges for explorers is simply reaching the bottom. The pressures in the deep ocean are so immense that only the sturdiest vehicles can survive. Most of the time, even the most advanced submersibles are limited in where they can go and how long they can stay. This means the vast majority of the seafloor remains unexplored, its mysteries intact. Where explorers do venture, the rewards are often extraordinary: rare species, new minerals, and entire landscapes that seem almost extraterrestrial. Among the ocean's wonders are its black smokers, hydrothermal vents found along underwater mountain chains. These vents spew superheated, mineral-rich water from within the earth, creating towers of black smoke that rise in the darkness. Around these chimneys, life thrives without sunlight. Strange worms, clams, and bacteria form dense colonies, drawing energy not from the sun, but from the chemicals in the vent water. The discovery of these ecosystems in the late 20th century revolutionized biology, proving that life could exist in places no one had thought possible. Elsewhere, underwater volcanoes shape the seafloor with eruptions that can build new islands overnight or trigger devastating tsunamis. The Pacific's Ring of Fire is especially active, with hundreds of volcanoes both above and below the surface. Some of these volcanoes have created legendary islands, while others lie hidden, their presence known only by the earthquakes and thermal plumes they produce. When such an eruption occurs, it can transform the landscape in moments, destroying old habitats, but also creating new ones where life quickly takes hold. The relationship between people and the sea is as old as civilization. Ancient sailors navigated by the stars, their fragile ships at the mercy of winds, tides, and storms. They told stories of sea monsters, whirlpools, and enchanted islands, blending observation with imagination to explain what they saw. Some legends, like those of Atlantis, Mu, or Lemuria, reflect a deep human longing for lost worlds. While these places remain unproven, the ocean has claimed many real lands over the ages, as coastlines shift and cities sink. Underwater archaeology is a field that combines adventure with painstaking research. With the aid of sonar, divers, and remotely operated vehicles, researchers map sunken ships and submerged ruins. Each new discovery adds to our understanding of trade routes, migration, and daily life in the past. Ancient amphorae, coins, jewelry, and tools have been recovered from the depths, shedding light on forgotten cultures and their interactions across the sea. Modern technology has even allowed scientists to raise entire shipwrecks from the ocean floor. The salvage of the Swedish warship Vasa, which sank in 1628, is a famous example. After 3 centuries underwater, the ship was brought to the surface almost intact, offering historians a time capsule of 17th century naval life. More recent recoveries, such as the raising of World War II submarines and cargo ships, provide fresh perspectives on the global conflicts that shaped our world. The ocean is also a graveyard for aircraft, with thousands of planes lost over water during wars and in peacetime accidents. Many of these wrecks have never been found, though modern sonar and underwater drones have begun to solve some of the mysteries. For families of the lost, each discovery brings a sense of closure. For historians, every wreck is a puzzle, each engine, wing, or fuselage a clue to what happened. Beyond history, the sea is a living engine that powers the planet's climate and weather. Ocean currents transport heat around the globe, influencing rainfall, droughts, and even the course of hurricanes. The surface layers absorb sunlight, while the deep waters store vast amounts of carbon and nutrients. As climate changes, the ocean's role becomes ever more crucial. Its rising temperatures, shifting currents, and acidification have profound effects on both marine life and human society. The creatures of the deep sea are among the most fascinating of Earth's inhabitants. Giant squid, once thought mythical, have been filmed hunting in the blackness. Deep-dwelling sharks and fish grow slowly and live for centuries, their lives largely invisible to us. Some animals, like the coelacanth, a fish once believed extinct, have been rediscovered alive in underwater caves. Others, like the colossal squid or the six-gilled shark, remain elusive, caught only by chance or seen as shadows on sonar. Whales, dolphins, and porpoises navigate the ocean's vastness with astonishing skill. Their songs echo for miles through the water, carrying messages we are only beginning to understand. Sperm whales dive thousands of meters in pursuit of squid, holding their breath for over an hour. Blue whales, the largest animals to have ever lived, migrate across entire ocean basins in search of krill. These giants remind us that, no matter how advanced our technology, we are still visitors in a world shaped by its own rules. The ocean's smallest inhabitants are just as important. Plankton, tiny drifting organisms, form the base of the marine food web. They produce much of the world's oxygen and provide food for everything from shrimp to whales. When plankton populations shift, entire ecosystems are affected, with consequences for fisheries, climate, and even the air we breathe. Islands, too, are born from the sea's restless energy. Volcanic eruptions create new land, while coral reefs grow slowly over centuries, rising from the seafloor until they break the surface as sandy atolls. Some islands are lush and forested, others little more than rocks battered by wind and wave. Their isolation breeds unique life, birds, reptiles, and insects found nowhere else. Shaped by the challenges of living far from the mainland, many islands have their own stories of disappearance. The island of Krakatoa, for example, was shattered by a cataclysmic eruption in 1883, with most of it vanishing beneath the sea. In other places, Rising seas and eroding coastlines threaten to erase land that has been home to people for generations. The fate of low-lying atolls is a warning for the future, as climate change brings new dangers to the world's shorelines. Maritime disasters are woven into the ocean's history. Some, like the sinking of the Titanic or the Lusitania, are known to millions. Others are quieter, but no less tragic. The loss of fishing boats, freighters, and passenger ships in storms, collisions, or by fire. Each disaster leaves a mark on the seafloor and often on the communities left behind. Advances in navigation, safety, and ship design have saved countless lives, but the sea remains a place where respect and caution are always required. Some of the ocean's most chilling mysteries are never fully solved. Ships vanish without trace, leaving behind only questions. Unexplained signals, strange lights, and odd creatures sometimes appear in the logs of sailors and explorers. Science can explain many things, but not all, and it is this sense of the unknown that continues to draw people to the sea. Cultural connections to the ocean are as diverse as humanity itself. For Pacific Islanders, the sea is a pathway and a source of identity. For Norse sailors, it was a challenge to be mastered. Coastal peoples everywhere have woven myths and legends around the creatures and spirits they imagined in the depths. Fishermen still offer small rituals before heading out to sea, honoring both tradition and the unpredictability of nature. The modern world is increasingly aware of the ocean's vulnerability. Overfishing, pollution, and plastic waste threaten many marine species. Coral reefs are bleaching, and fish populations are shrinking. Yet hope remains. Conservation efforts, marine reserves, and new technologies are helping to restore damaged ecosystems. Scientists and activists alike are working to ensure that future generations can experience the wonders of the sea. For the individual, the ocean is both playground and teacher. Surfers chase the perfect wave, sailors harness the wind, and divers seek out hidden reefs and wrecks. Each encounter is unique, shaped by weather, tide, and chance. The sea demands adaptability, patience, and respect. It rewards curiosity with beauty and, sometimes, with danger. The act of exploration is itself a form of transformation. Those who descend into the deep or cross vast stretches of open water often speak of being changed, of gaining a new perspective on life and the world. The boundaries between fear and awe, risk and reward, become blurred. Every journey into the ocean is a journey into the unknown, and every discovery, no matter how small, adds to the story of our planet. As night falls on the open sea, stars emerge above and below, reflected on the water's surface and in the shimmering lights of bioluminescent creatures. It is a reminder that, for all our achievements, the universe remains vast and mysterious. The ocean connects us to that sense of wonder, grounding us in the rhythms of nature and the possibility of discovery. The greatest treasures of the sea are not always gold or jewels, but the experiences and knowledge gained by those who venture out. Whether you stand on a storm-lashed coast, drift above a coral reef, or plunge into the abyss in search of new life, you are part of a tradition as old as humanity itself. The sea calls to explorers, poets, scientists, and dreamers alike. A challenge, an inspiration, and a reminder that the world is full of marvels yet to be revealed. The dawn of the 21st century has brought with it a new golden age of ocean exploration. While past generations relied on wooden ships and basic diving equipment, today's scientists use remote, operated vehicles, SROVs, autonomous underwater drones, and deep, diving submersibles equipped with powerful lights and cameras. These technologies have expanded our reach, allowing us to map the seafloor in incredible detail and venture into regions once thought impossible to study. One of the greatest breakthroughs is the use of high-resolution sonar. Modern mapping systems reveal vast mountain ranges, towering underwater volcanoes, and deep rifts that were once only vague shapes on old charts. Oceanographers can now create 3D dimensional models of these features, unlocking clues about Earth's geology, tectonic history, and the evolution of its crust. Each new map can uncover places no human has ever seen. Valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon, or peaks rivaling the Alps in height, all hidden under kilometers of water. In the world's deepest trenches, exploration is both a technical and a human triumph. Pioneers like Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard made history in 1960 by descending into the Mariana Trench aboard the bathyscaphe Trieste. For almost half a century, no one repeated their feat, but in recent years, filmmakers and scientists like James Cameron and Victor Vescovo have followed, piloting new submersibles to the very bottom of the world. Each dive brings new images and samples, from shrimp, like amphipods adapted to crushing pressure, to transparent fish that seem almost ghostly in appearance. Deep diving is not only about machinery, but also human endurance and courage. Commercial divers working on oil rigs, pipelines, or salvage missions often spend weeks at a time in underwater habitats, breathing special gas mixtures to survive at great depth. Their stories are filled with danger and skill, navigating total darkness, powerful currents, and the constant threat of equipment failure. Yet the rewards are unmatched, rare glimpses of places no one else has seen, and the satisfaction of pushing the boundaries of what is possible. Beneath the ocean's surface, entire landscapes await discovery. Off the coasts of India, Egypt, and Japan, archaeologists have uncovered the remains of ancient cities now submerged by rising seas or tectonic shifts. Roads, temples, statues, and walls can still be seen beneath the sand, preserved by centuries of quiet. These ruins rewrite our understanding of history, showing that the line between land and sea is never fixed, and that human stories may be hidden far below the waves. Some of the most striking examples are found off the coast of Alexandria, Egypt, where the lost city of Heracleion once stood. Submerged for more than 1,000 years, it was rediscovered by divers who found monumental statues, columns, and entire neighborhoods buried beneath the Mediterranean. Underwater excavations revealed treasures, inscriptions, jewelry, coins, providing a window into ancient life and trade. Each new find inspires more questions. How did these cities fall? What other stories lie waiting in the deep? Nature, too, stages its own spectacles beneath the waves. Every year, billions of sardines, herring, and anchovies gather in massive schools, forming bait balls that attract predators from every direction. Sharks, dolphins, whales, and seabirds all feast on the swirling clouds of fish. Coral reefs explode in synchronized spawning events, as millions of eggs and sperm are released into the water at once, triggered by moonlight and temperature. These displays are among the planet's most impressive natural phenomena, witnessed by only a few lucky divers and scientists. In the open ocean, great migrations unfold on a scale almost unimaginable. Sea turtles travel thousands of kilometers between nesting beaches and feeding grounds, guided by Earth's magnetic field. Humpback whales sing as they move from polar feeding areas to tropical breeding grounds, their haunting songs echoing through the deep for hundreds of miles. Eels, born in distant seas, return as adults to the rivers and lakes of Europe and North America in a journey that remains only partly understood. Sometimes, the ocean reveals its wonders through violence. Underwater earthquakes can create devastating tsunamis that cross entire oceans, changing coastlines in minutes. Volcanic eruptions build new islands or destroy old ones, altering maps and displacing communities. These events remind us that the ocean is not merely a passive expanse, but a living, dynamic force, shaping the land, climate, and life itself. Cultures across the world celebrate their connection to the sea with festivals, art, and rituals. In Japan, the tradition of ama divers, women who harvest pearls and shellfish without breathing apparatus, dates back centuries. Polynesian wayfinders read the stars, waves, and winds to navigate the vast Pacific, preserving knowledge passed down for generations. In Scandinavia, stories of sea serpents and krakens echo the awe and fear inspired by the ocean's mysteries. The ocean's power is felt not only in legends, but also in modern economies. Ports bustle with ships, carrying goods across continents. Fisheries feed millions, and offshore platforms extract oil, gas, and minerals vital to modern life. Yet these activities also come with risks. Pollution, overfishing, and habitat destruction threaten the ocean's health. Oil spills can devastate entire ecosystems, while plastic waste accumulates in giant gyres, harming marine life from the tiniest plankton to the largest whales. Scientists are racing to understand and protect the ocean's fragile balance. New technologies allow for real-time monitoring of currents, temperatures, and wildlife migrations. Protected marine areas, where fishing and drilling are banned, provide refuges for species to recover. Restoration projects aim to rebuild coral reefs, seagrass meadows, and mangrove forests, helping to buffer coastlines from storms and store carbon. International agreements, though often difficult to enforce, are a step toward responsible stewardship of the seas. As the world grapples with climate change, the ocean's role as a regulator becomes ever more critical. Its waters absorb much of the excess heat trapped by greenhouse gases, helping to slow the planet's warming. But this comes at a price. Rising temperatures lead to coral bleaching, shifting currents, and the loss of ice at the poles. As the chemistry of the ocean changes, many species struggle to survive, and the consequences ripple through food webs and economies alike. Yet hope remains. Time and again, the ocean has shown its capacity for renewal. Damaged reefs can recover if given a chance. Fish populations rebound when protected, and even heavily polluted bays have been brought back to life through determined effort. The key lies in knowledge, respect, and the will to act, not just as individuals, but as a global community bound together by a shared destiny. For those who seek the ocean's wonders, the journey is never over. New species are discovered each year: tiny crustaceans, brilliant jellyfish, fish that glow like lanterns in the dark. Underwater volcanoes, once thought rare, are now known to be abundant, reshaping the seafloor with every eruption. The search for life on other planets draws inspiration from Earth's own extremes, where creatures thrive in boiling vents or under polar ice. The ocean is also a frontier for the imagination. Writers, filmmakers, and artists draw on its mysteries to create worlds of adventure and beauty. From Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea to modern documentaries and blockbuster films, the sea inspires us to dream, to wonder, and to explore. Education and outreach have become vital tools for inspiring the next generation of ocean stewards. Virtual reality dives, online expeditions, and interactive museums allow millions to experience the wonders of the sea without leaving home. Students can follow real-time missions, track tagged sharks and turtles, and even help identify new species through citizen science projects. The ocean is no longer out of reach. It is part of our everyday lives, shaping weather, food, culture, and even the air we breathe. Looking to the future, there is much to hope for. Advances in marine engineering promise new ways to harness the ocean's energy, from tidal and wave power to offshore wind farms. Bioprospecting, searching for new medicines in marine organisms, has already yielded compounds used to treat cancer, infections, and other diseases. As we learn more, the potential for sustainable use of the ocean's resources grows. Yet the greatest lesson may be humility. For all our knowledge, the ocean remains full of surprises. Its power, beauty, and complexity are beyond our full comprehension. It challenges us to think beyond borders, to work together, and to respect the interconnectedness of all life. As you stand at the shore and gaze across the endless blue, remember the sea is both a mirror and a mystery. It reflects the best and worst of humanity, our creativity, resilience, folly, and hope. It asks only that we listen, learn, and act with care. So set sail in your imagination or in reality, and discover for yourself what lies beyond the horizon. Whether you explore the sunken ruins of forgotten cities, swim with glowing creatures in the midnight zone, or simply walk along a quiet beach at dawn, you are part of an ancient story. A story still unfolding, full of wonders waiting to be found. The more we learn about the ocean, the more it seems to resist our attempts at mastery. For every mystery solved, a dozen more arise, unknown signals from the deep, species that appear and vanish like phantoms, shifting landscapes beneath layers of water and time. Even now, the ocean remains Earth's wildest frontier. Scientists studying the deep sea often speak of the midnight zone, a layer of perpetual darkness between 1,000 and 4,000 meters deep. Here, sunlight never penetrates and pressures are extreme. The animals that dwell in these depths have evolved incredible adaptations. Eyes that see in near, total darkness, bodies that withstand crushing forces, and the ability to generate light for communication or hunting. Bioluminescence is everywhere. Some creatures pulse gently like lanterns, others flash in sudden bursts to startle predators or attract mates. Occasionally, strange sounds echo through the water, detected by hydrophones set out to monitor earthquakes or submarine activity. Some of these noises, like the bloop or Julia, have captured public imagination, sparking theories of gigantic unknown animals or secret geologic events. While many such sounds are eventually traced to icebergs, quakes, or whales, a few remain unexplained, reminders of how much we have yet to discover. Not all ocean mysteries are hidden in the deep. Along the world's coasts, scientists have found remarkable blue holes, underwater sinkholes formed during ancient ice ages when sea levels were lower. These vertical caverns are windows into the past, preserving layers of sediment, ancient animal remains, and even signs of prehistoric human life. Exploring a blue hole is like descending through time. Every meter brings new clues about climate, evolution, and the early movements of people. Some mysteries are born of tragedy. The disappearance of ships and planes over water, most famously in the so-called Bermuda Triangle, has given rise to endless speculation. While most vanishings are likely due to storms, navigation errors, or mechanical failures, the vastness of the sea means that many wrecks are never found. Oceanographers and explorers continue to search for answers, using advanced sonar and deep diving robots to map wreck sites and bring closure to long-standing mysteries. New challenges and dangers emerge as well. Rising sea levels, fueled by global warming, threaten to erase low-lying islands and coastal cities. Storms grow stronger as ocean temperatures climb, bringing floods and devastation to places once considered safe. At the same time, acidification caused by increased carbon dioxide levels harms coral reefs and shell-forming creatures, disrupting entire food chains. Yet amid the challenges, the ocean also offers hope. Recent years have seen dramatic recoveries in some fish populations thanks to strict management and marine protected areas. Whaling bans have allowed some species of whales to slowly return from the brink of extinction. Even coral reefs, battered by heat and pollution, have shown the capacity for regrowth if given a chance to recover. On the technological front, innovation continues at a breathtaking pace. Underwater robots now explore regions too dangerous or deep for humans. These machines can map the seafloor, sample rocks and microbes, or track marine animals over thousands of kilometers. Their data helps scientists understand how the ocean works, from the smallest currents to the largest migrations. There are now efforts to create underwater habitats for long-term research structures where scientists can live and work beneath the waves for weeks at a time. Projects like Aquarius Reef Base in Florida and Japan's Shinkai 6500 submersible serve as early steps toward a future where ocean exploration may become routine. These labs of the sea promise discoveries not only about marine biology, but also about how humans might one day colonize the ocean, or even other worlds. The relationship between humans and the sea is as much about culture as it is about science. For many coastal peoples, the ocean is the source of origin stories, sacred places, and rituals that mark the passage of seasons. Songs, dances, and festivals celebrate the return of the fish or the safe launch of new boats. In art and literature, the sea is a symbol of freedom, danger, beauty, and mystery. In the culinary world, the bounty of the ocean is both a delight and a concern. Seafood has fed humanity for millennia, from simple meals of grilled fish to elaborate feasts of shellfish and seaweed. Today, sustainable seafood is a growing movement as chefs and consumers seek to balance enjoyment with responsibility. Aquaculture, farming of fish, shellfish, and sea plants, is rapidly expanding, promising a new way to feed the world while reducing pressure on wild stocks. Medicine, too, looks increasingly to the ocean. Sponges, corals, and marine bacteria produce unique compounds that can fight infections, reduce pain, or even help cure cancer. Scientists are just beginning to tap into this vast pharmaceutical library, with each new expedition bringing the possibility of life-saving breakthroughs. Education and advocacy are crucial in preserving the ocean's wonders. Documentaries, social media campaigns, and classroom programs bring stories of the sea to millions of people. Citizen science. Projects invite divers, sailors, and beachcombers to collect data on everything from plastic pollution to whale sightings. The more people know about the ocean, the more likely they are to care for its future. The next decades promise even greater adventure. Projects to mine rare minerals from the seafloor are already underway, sparking debate about how to balance an economic need with environmental risk. Plans for floating cities, offshore wind farms, and underwater data centers are moving from science fiction to reality. As humanity's population grows and land resources are strained, the ocean may offer new frontiers for settlement, energy, and innovation. But these dreams come with caution. The ocean systems are delicate, and even small changes can have far-reaching impacts. Overfishing, habitat destruction, and pollution threaten to unravel the web of life that supports us all. Climate change is accelerating faster than many had predicted, and the consequences for weather, food security, and global stability are profound. Yet the ocean's history is a testament to resilience. Life has survived mass extinctions, shifting continents, and ice ages. New forms emerge, ecosystems recover, and balance returns, given time and care. Humanity's task is not to conquer the ocean, but to become better stewards, learning from the cycles and patterns that have shaped our planet for billions of years. For travelers and dreamers, the sea will always beckon. There are still places where you can watch dolphins, play in the surf, swim through forests of kelp, swaying in the current, or drift over reefs glowing with the colors of living jewels. Sailing across an open expanse, feeling the swell beneath your feet, and the salt wind on your face, you join a lineage that stretches back to the first adventurers who dared to leave shore. Each new day brings the promise of discovery, of new species, lost wrecks, and hidden landscapes. The ocean's stories are endless, its mysteries deeper than any trench. Whether you are a scientist, a sailor, or a child collecting shells on the beach, you are part of the great human voyage. A journey defined not by answers, but by the endless search for what lies beyond the horizon. At the heart of all these stories is wonder. The wonder of a whale breaching on a quiet morning, of phosphorescent plankton lighting up the night, of ancient ruins glimpsed through clear water. It is wonder that drives exploration, inspires art, and unites people across continents. The ocean, in all its moods and mysteries, is both the world's greatest classroom and its most profound source of hope. As long as there are questions, there will be those who venture out, drawn by the sea's call. As long as there is beauty, there will be those who fight to protect it. The ocean's future, like its past, is written not in stone, but in the shifting tides of curiosity, courage, and care. So, as we look ahead, to new voyages, new discoveries, and new challenges, let us remember the words of countless sailors and storytellers. The sea, once it casts its spell, holds one in its net of wonder forever. To listen to the ocean is to listen to the world itself, and to glimpse, if only for a moment, the secrets that bind us all.